Shadows of the Forgotten. The Astralis Federation had ruled the galaxy for over 3 centuries. Its reach extended across 17 spiral arms, encompassing over 10,000 inhabited worlds and countless space stations. Their technological superiority was unquestioned, their military might unchallenged, and their diplomatic influence absolute. The Federation's history was one of steady expansion, meticulous record-keeping, and an unshakable belief in their own manifest destiny. Admiral Theron Vax stood on the command deck of the Celestial Hammer, the Federation's flagship, gazing out at the stars. His silver uniform gleamed under the soft blue lighting of the bridge. 6 commendation medals displayed prominently on his chest. Behind him, a dozen officers worked at their stations, the quiet hum of the ship's systems a comfortable backdrop to their activity. "Admiral," said Commander Lyra Naven, approaching with a data tablet, "we have a situation in Sector 87. Vax turned, his expression neutral. "Elaborate." "The patrol vessel Vigilant Eye has detected an unknown craft at the edge of Federation space. It's unusual, sir." Vax raised an eyebrow. "Unusual how?" "It doesn't match any registered Federation, Alliance, or independent designs. It's using no known propulsion system, and it's moving faster than should be possible for a craft of its size." Vax took the tablet, studied the readouts. The vessel's trajectory was erratic, its energy signature faint, but unlike anything in their databases. "Origin?" "Unknown, sir. It's coming from the Dead Zone." The Dead Zone. The vast empty region beyond the Federation's borders, where no intelligent life had ever been discovered. Some claimed it was haunted by the ghosts of extinct civilizations. Others said it was simply a cosmic wasteland, devoid of resources worth claiming. "Any communication attempts?" "Yes, sir." No response. Vax tapped his finger against the tablet. "What about life signs?" "One confirmed, sir. And this is the strangest part." Naven hesitated. "The biosignature appears to be human." The bridge fell silent. Every officer within earshot had frozen, looking toward the Admiral. "Human." Vax's voice was barely audible. "Impossible. Humans were extinct, had been for over 200 years. The cataclysm had wiped out Earth and all its colonies. It was one of the greatest tragedies in galactic history, a cautionary tale taught to every Federation child. The Federation had arrived too late to save humanity, finding only ruins and records of a once promising species. "The readings are clear, sir," Naven said, "unless our sensors are malfunctioning." Vax handed back the tablet. "They're not. Deploy intercept squadrons. I want that vessel captured intact. Maximum security protocols. No one speaks of this outside this ship." "Yes, Admiral." As Naven moved away to relay his orders, Vax turned back to the viewport. If this was truly a human vessel, everything they knew about galactic history might be wrong. And Vax had a sinking feeling that the Federation's carefully constructed order was about to be shaken to its foundations. Lieutenant Commander Ilara Voss led the boarding party onto the alien vessel. Her tactical suit was sealed against potential contaminants, her neural implants scanning and recording everything she saw. Behind her, 6 elite Federation Marines moved in practiced formation, weapons at the ready. The ship's interior defied conventional design principles. The corridors curved in ways that seemed to follow no logical pattern. The lighting was warm and yellow, not the cool blue of Federation vessels. And strangest of all, the control interfaces appeared to be designed for manual operation rather than neural interfacing. "Primitive," muttered Sergeant Krell, one of the Marines. Ilara wasn't so sure. The materials were unlike anything she'd seen before, seemingly simple, but with a subtle complexity that suggested advanced engineering. "Stay alert," she ordered. They found the human in what appeared to be the ship's bridge. He was slumped in a chair that faced a large view screen, unmoving but alive according to their scans. Male, approximately 30 standard years old, with dark hair and pale skin. He wore a simple gray jumpsuit with no insignia or markings. Ilara approached cautiously. Federation security. Can you understand me? The human's eyes snapped open. They were startlingly blue, alert, and focused despite his apparent unconscious state moments before. I understand you perfectly, he said in flawless Federation standard. Though I'm surprised you speak English. Ilara blinked behind her helmet. We're speaking Galactic standard. The human smiled. Interesting. Your translation software must be excellent. He stood slowly, hands raised in a universal gesture of peace. My name is Kai Archer. I come from the human colony of Novaterra. Sergeant Krell raised his weapon. Humans are extinct. Clearly not, Kai replied, his expression never changing. Ilara gestured for Krell to lower his weapon. If humans survive, why have you remained hidden for 2 centuries? Hidden. Kai seemed genuinely confused. We've been rebuilding. After the purge. The cataclysm, Ilara corrected. Kai's eyes narrowed. Is that what they call it in your history books? A natural disaster that conveniently wiped out an entire species. The implication hung in the air, dangerous and unwelcome. Ilara changed the subject. You'll need to come with us. Admiral Vax will want to speak with you. Of course. Kai's compliance was immediate and total. I'm eager to meet your leaders. We have much to discuss. As they escorted the human off his vessel, Ilara couldn't shake the feeling that he had expected this, planned for it, even. She glanced back at the strange ship, wondering what other secrets it might hold. In the interrogation chamber aboard the Celestial Hammer, Kai Archer sat calmly at a metal table, seemingly unconcerned by his captivity. Across from him, Admiral Vax studied the human with undisguised fascination. You claim to be from a colony called Novaterra, Vax said. Yet our records indicate all human settlements were destroyed in the cataclysm. Your records are incomplete, Kai replied, or perhaps deliberately falsified. Vax's expression hardened. The Federation documented the tragedy extensively. We sent aid ships. They found only ruins. To the worlds you knew about, perhaps, but humanity had contingencies, seeds planted in distant soils, far from prying eyes. For what purpose? Kai leaned forward. Insurance. Against extinction. Whether by natural causes or otherwise. In the observation room adjacent to the interrogation chamber, Ilara watched the exchange with High Chancellor Darian Kell, the Federation's senior diplomat. Kell was a tall, thin humanoid with ashen skin and eyes that changed color with his mood, currently a troubled amber. He's implying the Federation had something to do with humanity's downfall, Kell said quietly. Could there be any truth to it? Ilara asked. Kell shot her a sharp look. The Federation preserves civilizations, Commander. We don't destroy them. On the screen, Vax was pressing the human for details about his colony. How many survivors? Where is Novaterra located? Enough to rebuild, Kai said. As for location, that's not information I'm authorized to share. Authorized by whom? What form of government do you have? A democratic council. I serve as an explorer and diplomat. Yet you made no attempt to contact us when we approached your vessel. Kai smiled thinly. I wanted to observe how you would react. Your response tells me much about the Federation. Vax sat back. And what have you learned? That you're surprised to see me. That humans are believed extinct. That you're uncertain how to proceed. Kai's blue eyes seemed to pierce through the screen. And that some of you are afraid. In the observation room, Kell's eyes had shifted to a deep purple, a sign of concern or agitation. He's too confident for a member of a supposedly devastated species, the Chancellor muttered. Ilara agreed. Either Kai was bluffing, or he knew something they didn't. Either way, she sensed that the Federation was not in control of this situation, despite appearances. We should inform the Galactic Council, she suggested. Kell shook his head. Not yet. If word gets out that humans still exist, there would be panic. Questions about our historical records. Diplomatic complications with the Arxern Alliance. The Alliance? What do they have to do with humans? Kel didn't answer, his attention returning to the interrogation as Vax changed tactics. "Mr. Archer," the Admiral was saying, "you must understand our caution. A species thought extinct for centuries suddenly reappears. Your vessel uses technology we cannot identify. You speak of a colony whose location you refuse to reveal." "I understand completely," Kai replied. "Just as you must understand that I cannot betray my people's security based solely on assurances of your goodwill." "Then we are at an impasse. Perhaps, or perhaps this is just the beginning of a new dialogue." Kai stretched his hands out on the table. "The Federation believes it knows everything about humanity. You've studied our ruins, catalogued our achievements, mourned our passing, but you never truly knew us. And now you have a chance to learn, not from artifacts, but from living human beings. The question is whether you're prepared for what that means." Vax's expression revealed nothing. "You'll remain our guest while we consider our next steps. Is there anything you require in the meantime?" "Just one thing," Kai said. "A message must be sent to Novaterra within 48 hours of my departure, confirming my safety. If it isn't received, certain protocols will be activated." "Is that a threat, Mr. Archer?" "A simple fact, Admiral. For their own safety, my people will assume the worst if I don't check in." After Vax left the interrogation room, he joined Ilara and Kel in the observation area. His face was grim. "Opinions?" he asked. "He's hiding something," Kel said immediately. "The question is what?" "He's telling the truth about being human," Ilara offered. "Bioscanners confirm it. And his ship, it's like nothing we've encountered before. Advanced, but in ways we don't understand." Vax nodded. "If he's to be believed, there's an entire human colony out there, potentially hostile to the Federation. Or potentially seeking peaceful contact," Ilara suggested. "Then why the secrecy? Why not approach through official channels?" Kel demanded. "Perhaps because they don't trust us," Ilara said quietly. An uncomfortable silence fell over the room. On the screen, Kai sat perfectly still, as if meditating. Or waiting. "I want full analysis of his vessel," Vax decided. "Maximum security classification, and prepare a communication to Central Command. Eyes only for the High Council." "Sir," Ilara said hesitantly, "shouldn't we grant his request to send a message to his people and reveal our position? Allow them to track our communications?" Vax shook his head. "Too risky. For now, we contain the situation." As they dispersed to their duties, Ilara couldn't shake the feeling that they were making a terrible mistake. If Kai was telling the truth about these protocols, they might be provoking the very conflict they hoped to avoid. That night, alarms blared throughout the Celestial Hammer. Security forces rushed to the detention level, only to find the human cell empty. Kai Archer had vanished without a trace. In the chaos that followed, no one noticed a small shuttle departing from the vessel's auxiliary bay. No one, that is, except Lieutenant Commander Ilara Voss, who watched the security feed from her private terminal. She had made her choice. The Federation's secrets were too dark, the lies too deep. She had seen the classified files, the truth hidden from even most of the High Council. The Federation had not discovered humanity after the cataclysm. They had caused it. And now, as Kai's shuttle disappeared into the darkness of space, Ilara knew that humanity's return would bring a reckoning 2 centuries in the making. The shadows of the forgotten were rising, and the Federation would soon face the consequences of its greatest crime. In the vastness of space, on the edge of the dead zone, a signal pulsed outward, a beacon calling to those who had waited in the darkness. Humanity had reemerged, and the galaxy would never be the same. The reckoning dawned. The emergency meeting of the Federation High Council had been in session for 6 hours. Inside the secure chamber aboard the Australis Central Station, 12 of the most powerful individuals in the galaxy argued in increasingly desperate tones. Admiral Vax stood at attention before them, weathering their fear and anger with stoic resignation. How could one primitive human escape our most secure detention facility? Demanded Counselor Torin, his reptilian features contorted with rage. The evidence suggests he had help, Vax replied evenly. High Chancellor Kell leaned forward, eyes shifting between crimson and violet. From whom? We're still investigating. However, Lieutenant Commander Voss is also missing. A heavy silence fell over the chamber. Counselor Nera, the eldest member, spoke softly. If this human reaches his people with knowledge of our presence, then we must prepare for contact, Vax said. Contact. Counselor Torin slammed his scaled fist on the table. You don't understand what's at stake. The records were sealed for a reason. Enough. The voice belonged to Supreme Director Arwing Sara, the head of the Federation. Until now, she had remained silent, observing. All eyes turned to her. Unlike the others, she displayed no fear, only cold calculation. Admiral Vax, she said, you've seen the humans' vessel. Assess their technological capabilities. Vax chose his words carefully. The vessel employs principles our scientists cannot fully explain. Its propulsion system appears to bend spacetime without conventional energy signatures. Its hull composition is unknown to us. Superior to ours? Sara asked directly. In some ways, possibly. Different, certainly. Kara nodded, as if confirming a private theory. And this human, Kai Archer, your impression? Confident, well prepared. He seemed to know more about us than should be possible. As if they've been watching us, murmured Counselor Nera. Sara rose from her seat, walking to the large viewport that overlooked the glittering central hub of Federation space. Thousands of vessels moved in careful patterns around the massive station, the visible manifestation of order, of control. 200 years ago, she said without turning, our predecessors made a choice. Humanity was deemed too dangerous to be allowed unfettered expansion into the galaxy. Their technological development was accelerating exponentially. Their nature was deemed unpredictable. The purge was necessary, insisted Counselor Toran. The model showed a 97% probability that humans would have dominated the galaxy within 5 centuries. And yet, Sara said, turning back to face the council, they survived. Hidden. Watching. Building. She returned to her seat. Admiral Vax, deploy the 7th Fleet to Sector 87. Find this Nova Terra. We must know what we're facing. And if we find it? Vax asked. Zara's expression hardened. Evaluate. Contain. If necessary, complete what our ancestors began. As the council session ended, Admiral Vax departed with his new orders, his face betraying nothing of his thoughts. But inside, a question burned. What kind of civilization had they awakened from the shadows? And what vengeance would it seek for the crimes of the past? Ilara Voss had never seen anything like Nova Terra. The human colony was not a primitive outpost as she had expected, but a vast network of habitats seamlessly integrated into a dwarf planet system. Massive ring structures orbited the central world, each a self-contained ecosystem housing millions. The engineering was elegant, advanced, and entirely distinct from Federation designs. Impressed, Kai asked as their shuttle approached the largest ring station. How did you hide all this? She asked. We didn't, not really. Your people simply never looked in the right places. Kai piloted the shuttle with casual expertise. The Federation is meticulous about mapping resource-rich systems, habitable planets, strategic positions. This system has none of those attractions. It's unremarkable by your standards. But perfect for staying hidden, Ilara concluded. For rebuilding, Kai corrected. The shuttle docked at an airlock that opened into a vast interior garden. Gravity was Earth standard, the air clean with the scent of growing things. People moved about their business, humans of all descriptions, dressed in practical clothing similar to Kai's simple jumpsuit. They glanced at Ilara with curiosity but not hostility. They're not surprised to see an outsider, she asked. They know who you are. News travels fast here. He led her through the garden to a sleek transport tube that carried them to another section of the ring. Here, the environment changed to something more institutional, a government center, perhaps. They entered a circular chamber where 7 individuals sat at a round table. 4 men, 3 women, all with the same quiet confidence Kai possessed. The Diplomatic Council, Kai explained, our governing body. An older woman with silver hair and dark skin stood. Lieutenant Commander Ilara Voss. Welcome to Nova Terra. I am Director Amara Chen. Ilara straightened instinctively. Thank you for receiving me, Director. You've taken a significant risk by coming here, said one of the men, younger than Chen, with sharp features. Treason against the Federation is punishable by neural wiping. I am aware, Counselor. And yet you helped Kai escape. Why? Ilara met his gaze. Because I accessed the sealed archives. I know what the Federation did to Earth, to all human worlds. The council members exchanged glances. Director Chen gestured to an empty chair. Please, join us. There is much to discuss. As Ilara took her seat, the council chamber's walls transformed into display screens, showing images of Federation fleet movements. With a chill, she recognized the 7th Fleet, the Federation's most powerful military force, moving toward the dead zone. Your Admiral Vax works quickly, observed the sharp-featured counselor. They're looking for Nova Terra, Ilara said. They won't find it, Kai assured her. Not yet, but they will find something else. At his words, a new image appeared on the screens. A massive vessel, unlike any Ilara had seen before. It dwarfed even the Federation's largest dreadnoughts, its design reminiscent of Kay's ship, but scaled to monstrous proportions. The Reclamation, Director Chen said. Humanity's flagship, currently on an intercept course with your 7th Fleet. Ilara stared at the enormous vessel. You're going to attack? No, Chen said firmly. We're going to introduce ourselves. Properly this time. Admiral Vax stood on the bridge of the Celestial Hammer, staring at the tactical display in disbelief. The vessel that had appeared at the edge of their sensor range defied comprehension. It was massive, easily 3 times the size of his flagship, and moving at speeds that should have been impossible for a ship of its dimensions. Sir, his tactical officer reported, the vessel is broadcasting on all frequencies. They're requesting communication with the Federation Fleet Commander. Vax straightened his uniform. Put them through. The main view screen shifted, revealing a woman in a simple black uniform with silver piping. Her gray hair was cropped short, her dark eyes piercing. Behind her stood Kai Archer, and to Vax's shock, Lieutenant Commander Voss. Admiral Theron Vax. The woman said, I am Admiral Helena Drake of the United Earth Navy. We request a parley under terms of neutral contact. Vax maintained his composure with effort. The United Earth government was dissolved over 2 centuries ago. Displaced, Drake corrected, not dissolved. We have maintained our sovereignty and civilization, despite the Federation's attempt to eradicate us. Vax felt the eyes of his bridge crew on him, sensed their growing discomfort. I have no knowledge of any such attempt, Admiral Drake. Then you've been kept in the dark by your own leadership. Unfortunate, but not surprising. Drake's expression softened slightly. We don't hold you personally responsible for the crimes of your predecessors, Admiral. That's why we're offering dialogue instead of alternatives. The implied threat hung in the air. Vax studied the tactical situation. The human vessel, if it was even purely human technology, had appeared without warning. Their sensors hadn't detected its approach until it was already within weapons range. What other capabilities might it possess? I'm authorized to discuss preliminary diplomatic relations, he said carefully. But I must warn you that any aggressive action will be met with the full force of the Federation fleet. Drake actually smiled at this. Understood, Admiral. We propose a meeting aboard our vessel with equal security contingents. Lieutenant Commander Voss has vouched for your personal integrity, which is why we're extending this invitation specifically to you. Vax glanced at Voss, whose expression remained neutral. Had she betrayed the Federation, or was she playing a deeper game? Either way, he had little choice. The High Council would expect him to gather intelligence on these humans and their capabilities. I accept, Admiral Drake. Allow me 2 hours to prepare. Of course, we'll transmit docking protocols shortly. The screen went dark. Commander Naven approached him quietly. Sir, Supreme Director Xera should be informed immediately. Agreed. Send a coded transmission. But Naven, Vax lowered his voice. Include everything. The size of their vessel, its technological capabilities, the fact that they detected and intercepted us despite our stealth protocols. You believe the High Council should reconsider their containment strategy. Vax watched as the massive human ship maintained its position, a silent statement of power. I believe we may not have as many options as the director thinks. The interior of the Reclamation was a revelation. Unlike the sterile, streamlined designs favored by the Federation, the human vessel embraced a harmonious blend of function and organic aesthetics. Living plants grew along corridors, water flowed through transparent conduits, and the lighting mimicked natural sunlight. Yet beneath this seeming softness, Vax's trained eye detected formidable defenses and technology that seemed to operate on principles his science had never contemplated. Admiral Drake led him through the ship to a conference room where the full diplomatic council awaited. Lieutenant Commander Voss stood to one side, now dressed in civilian clothing rather than her Federation uniform. Admiral Vax, Director Chen greeted him. Thank you for coming. Please, be seated. Vax took the offered chair, his security detail standing at attention behind him. I understand you have grievances against the Federation, he began. I'm here to listen and to convey your concerns to my superiors. Grievances, repeated the sharp-featured counselor with a bitter laugh. Is that what we're calling genocide now? Marcus, Chen said quietly, a note of warning in her voice. Vax kept his expression neutral. I have accessed no records indicating any Federation aggression against humanity. Because those records were sealed or destroyed, Chen explained. The truth was too damaging to your narrative of benevolent guardianship. She gestured, and the room darkened. A holographic display appeared above the table, showing historical footage. Federation warships in orbit around a blue-green planet. Earth, Vax realized. The ships were firing energy weapons against planetary defense systems. Cities burned. This is propaganda, Vax said, but without conviction. This is history, Chen replied. Recovered from our archives and from the black boxes. Emergency data recorders launched as our worlds fell. The Federation didn't arrive too late to save humanity, Admiral. They arrived precisely on schedule to destroy it. More images followed. Colony worlds under attack, civilian transports shot down, Federation ground forces rounding up survivors. Vax felt physically ill. If these records were authentic, why? He finally asked. Why would the Federation do this? Fear, said Admiral Drake, speaking for the first time since they'd entered the room. Your founders feared what humanity might become. Our technology was advancing rapidly. Our expansion was vigorous. Projections suggested we would eventually become the dominant power in this quadrant. So they attempted to eliminate the threat, Chen continued. Every known human world was targeted. Official records were altered to blame a natural disaster, the so-called cataclysm, a tragedy that the noble Federation tried but failed to prevent. Vax struggled to process this, but you survived. Some of us, Drake acknowledged. We had contingency colonies, research outposts in unmarked systems, and we had warning, just enough to evacuate a fraction of our population to these fallback positions. For 2 centuries, we rebuilt, Chen said. We developed technologies the Federation cannot match because your science followed different evolutionary paths. We studied you from the shadows, learning your strengths and weaknesses. And now? Vax asked, dreading the answer. Drake leaned forward. Now we reveal ourselves, not in vengeance, though many among us called for it, but in the hope of building something better than what came before. Vax was skeptical. "You expect me to believe you harbored no thoughts of retaliation?" "Oh, we considered it," Marcus said bluntly. "We could have struck at any time in the past 50 years. The reclamation could reduce your capital world to molten slag before your defenses could react." "Then why didn't you?" "Because that's not who we chose to be," Chen said simply. "The Federation tried to destroy humanity because they feared what we might become. We refused to prove them right." The room fell silent. Vax found himself reevaluating everything. The Federation's history, its leadership, his own role in its power structure. Finally, he asked the question that had been building since he first saw Kai Archer's impossible ship. "What do you want from us?" "Recognition," Chen answered. "Acknowledgement of past crimes. And a seat at the table, equal status within the galactic community." "The High Council will never agree." "They will," Drake said with quiet confidence, "once they understand the alternative." As if on cue, the holographic display changed, showing hundreds of vessels emerging from concealed positions throughout Federation space. Human ships, all employing the same advanced technology as the reclamation, all previously undetected by Federation sensors. "We are everywhere, Admiral," Drake explained. "We could have destroyed your civilization as you tried to destroy ours. Instead, we're offering peace. The choice seems clear." 3 months later, Lieutenant Commander Ilara Voss stood beside Kai Archer in the Great Hall of Remembrance on Novaterra. The vast circular space commemorated the billions lost in what was now officially recognized as the human genocide. Federation representatives, including Admiral Vax and newly appointed Supreme Director Naven, joined human leaders in a solemn ceremony of reconciliation. "I still can't believe how quickly the old council fell," Ilara murmured to Kai. "Truth has a power all its own," he replied. Once Admiral Vax presented the evidence, public opinion across the Federation demanded change. Supreme Director Xara and her closest allies had been removed from power, facing charges of conspiracy and suppression of historical records. The Federation's citizens, many of whom had human ancestors in their distant lineage, had reacted with horror to the revelations about their government's founding crime. "And now?" Ilara asked. "What happens now?" Kai smiled, watching as Admiral Drake and Director Chen signed the Treaty of Novaterra alongside the Federation representatives. "Now we build something new. Together." Outside the hall, visible through its transparent dome, ships from both civilizations moved in respectful formation. Federation vessels with their sleek blue lines, human ships with their organic flowing designs. Not as enemies, not even as uneasy allies, but as partners in a fragile but hopeful new beginning. Humanity had returned from the shadows not with fire and vengeance, but with an outstretched hand and a challenge to create a better future. They had proven themselves not just survivors, but visionaries, not conquerors, but builders. The Australis Federation had ruled the galaxy for over 3 centuries. Now, with humanity's return, a new era dawned, one founded not on dominance and fear, but on cooperation and truth. The reckoning had come, but instead of ending in destruction, it had birthed something unexpected: reconciliation.